Good morning. We're doing another day in the life today. It's Thanksgiving week. I'm going out of town tomorrow for 2 weeks, bringing the computer, but it's just a good day for a day in the life. Got a lot of things I'm working on, got a lot of things I want to share that I think are going to be hopefully helpful and encouraging to any agency owner out there. I want to share some updates, some things we're focused on our agency, some things that I'm learning and I'm growing through, and just some good stuff that's going on, and encourage you in your journey. So I hope it helps. I hope this is entertaining. First thing is coffee. We have switched to AI for our real estate photo editing. 2 weeks in, what's it been like? It's been fine. There's still some problems. We've worked really hard on our workflow, which I'm so glad we did. I'm just not a huge AI guy, especially for creative industries. I really don't want to lean in too much where we're so dependent on it. I think they can be great tools, but I never want to be fully dependent, especially on the creative side. So I'm really trying to make sure for us that we are leveraging it in a way that helps us be more efficient and improves the value that we're offering, but not that we're really relying on it for creative inspiration and where it starts to replace us in terms of what we can provide. Because at that point, someone else can just plug in an AI model and replace us. So I'm trying to make sure that we're focused on staying ahead of that. But real estate, photo editing, it's been good, but it's not for everyone. It's not for every agency. For us, it's not perfect either, but it's a tool that we're able to leverage, implement into our workflow, save some money, and still provide great results. Again, it's a tool to be implemented for your service. Make sure that's the lens you're seeing it through. This isn't a fix-all. This isn't a, tool that's going to change everything for your business. So make sure when you're looking at it, you make sure it's a good fit for you, for your business, and implement it well. That's my recommendation. I promise this is the last gear update for a while, but I just couldn't help myself. For our FX30, my favorite lens was the 16 prime. That was basically a 24 millimeter, and I loved the focal length. I loved the aperture that you could get on that 24. I couldn't bring myself to buy it new. By Christmas, we got a 24 millimeter f1.4. Let's switch to some shots right now. Heading to the studio. 24 is a little tight for vlogging, but James is here with me.
Howdy, howdy.
We are going to set up some videos. The studio is in great need of some organization right now, but that's the thing about finished videos, especially vertical videos. You never know. You just never know, because it's such a small field of view that everything looks great by the end of it. So we're going to turn off these ugly lights, get some things set up, and shoot some videos. First video we're going to be doing is just a little about the coaching service that I'm starting to offer. And if you want that link, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram. The unfortunate thing with this room is we have great natural light, but we really want to film looking into this corner. So to do that, to get the light coming in this way and film on the shadow side and look at the background we want to look at, we're blocking off the windows and bringing in some light. So maybe we'll get a little more creative at some point, but that's what we're going to do today. Art. Okay. All right, we filmed some videos in the office, filmed a couple things for me, for my brand, for the agency. And one thing I've kind of prepared is some opinion reels. And I feel like I've been seeing that more. Maybe it's obvious to everyone else, but I think how you show up on social media and stand out and connect is by having some opinions that are different from everyone else, and not necessarily sharing just education, but sharing your opinions, your convictions, things like that. So I've written down a list of some things I want to talk about. So we're going to try to find some different setups around here and make some more reels. We had some people swing by the studio. Didn't get quite as much filming done. Always good to hang out with the team when they're between shoots and swinging by. Had some headshots that we were kind of practicing a new style, working on something for a client, and had a meeting on some of the workflow stuff that we are doing internally for our marketing projects, trying to straighten that out a little bit. Came home, swung by Costco. We're leaving tomorrow early, and I've got a ton of things to do, so not going to keep this super long. I do have to get some things done on the computer for a couple projects, and then I want to share something, the reason for making this video in particular about this topic. I'll share that in a few minutes through the iPad. Something I have been really considering this past year, not as much in the years previous. I'm not exactly sure why, but something that has really been on my mind is how I'm really aligning everything, both in my business and in my personal life. Because I feel like for a while, I just got off track a little bit. Not intentionally, just a moment of, wait a second, what's really the most important here? And I really have these, I'm always kind of analyzing, like, for my life and my business, how these things look. And I feel like I should have graphed this out before, but I'm just gonna wing it here and see if it makes sense. I feel like we have importance over here, and we've got priority over here. I know at times in my life, I have made things that are, I've made them really important when they're really not a priority. And then I've also made things a big priority that really aren't important. And over time, your curve starts to look like this. And that's not what you want. I believe, life is short. We're all given a gift with the time we have. And everyone's life and situation across the globe is so different. So in no way am I trying to judge or even say that I know the right way to go about this for everyone. I just know my own conviction that I want my graph to look like this, where everything is where it should be. Because ultimately, I think that's where we find purpose. And I think that's really, I'm a Christian. I believe that we as people have things that we're supposed to do, that we're supposed to love others, that we're supposed to love God, and that our work is not the most important thing. So for me, I've been really working hard and looking at myself and saying, am I making, my family and faith my top priority? What comes after that? And how does everything else fall in line? Is my health coming next? And is my work here? I don't think these necessarily have to correlate with time, but there needs to be a really hard analysis, because if we're wrong in some of our, assessment of these things, I don't want to get to the end of my journey at my agency and, realize, man, I messed up. I know this is getting a little heavy for a daily vlog on a real estate media channel, but this is important to me, and this is important for my life and for anyone I'm going to talk with about these things. As a business owner, if I'm talking to any other agency owner, these are the things that I'm ultimately getting to when I talk about drive and motivation and vision and all this stuff. And I feel like if you don't have these things in order, at some point you're going to either be very frustrated or hit a ceiling or something like that. It's really, really hard to operate outside of this for very long, I think. All right, let's jump real quick to I'm gonna just erase this here for a second while we take a second stab. I meant to do life after work, but I think too for work, for your agency, you have to have these things aligned. And I know that I have made things way more important that weren't a priority. And as I'm trying to figure out how I can truly make a difference in my agency and develop in my own skill set and get better as a person, I'm seeing that these things have to be aligned, and I need to really understand what this looks like. In my mind, I think that's how I create value. And that's how I can become more valuable both to the agency and as a person. So, I think for me as an agency owner right now, and I didn't always think this way, but I think being able to carry the vision across the team is almost number one, especially when you're trying to grow. You have to be pushing forward, encouraging the team, sharing your vision, and that's something I'm trying to get better at. And I know if we don't have direction that we're going and that's not clear to everyone on the team, then we're not going to go very far. We're not going to go anywhere. I think in this, communication, your messaging, I think there's a lot in there. Number two, I probably would have is systems. Because again, in order to grow, if you don't have good systems in place, you're going to hit that ceiling. You're not going to be able to grow. So for me, I'm really focused on systems. Honestly, I haven't thought about this too much in terms of, how everything falls across the spectrum here. But I would say probably managing the team, and probably for me at this point, coaching's down here. And that's something I'm wrestling with because I really want to be able to put my coaching service and grow that, because that's something I'm excited about. I like making content, but I understand that long-term big goals, it's got to be down here and not up at the top. At a point that might change, and things are always changing in the business, which is why it's so important to be able to evaluate this on a regular basis. I think I'm trying to figure out what it looks like to be aligned here, to be aligned in the business and be aligned in life. And ultimately, I'm so much happier when I feel like I have a grasp on these things and when I can put it into practice. I want to be successful. I want to be the best I can be. I want to add value, but I also want to add value to my family, to my friends. And I don't want to get to the end and say, man, I wish I had spent less time on my business and more time with the people around me. I want to make sure that's not the case. I don't think I'm going to get to the end and say, man, I wish I'd spent another hour on the agency. But at the same time, I want to do the very best that I can with what I have in front of me with my agency, which is why I think this is so important, right? If we are going to properly align our lives, that means that we might not give as much time as we potentially could to our business. So if we still want to be as successful as possible, it means you got to be really focused and specific with the time that you are spending on your agency and in your business. And I don't want to miss that. I don't want to be working on something and realizing, oh man, I need to I should have been focused on this. And I have done that in the past. So for me, running 2 businesses or starting 3 businesses or 4 businesses, I know I'm not really going to be adding value. And I want to add as much value as possible. I see that over and over again. It's getting more and more clear to me that those people who are crushing it and truly successful offer incredible value in one really specific area. So I'm trying to figure out what my value is in my agency, where I can really excel and run in that lane. And then, for my family, I'm trying to figure out too what it looks like to add value and to love them well. Maybe this isn't what you expected, but this is something I'm trying to sort out for myself. I'm trying to get better at, because I don't think there's anything more important than this. So maybe you found this valuable. Maybe you're unsubscribing. Either way, leave a comment. I'd love to know your thoughts. Happy Thanksgiving.